If you need help, please press 1.
So I hope all is well with you. And, I just wanted to get into a few things today. So, some things I found interesting in news. Another thing that's been bothering me about people supporting you and being fraudulent in that support. And it's based off of how they act outside of trying to support you with the common quote unquote enemy. And it's never that simple with Ramon. Let's talk about, I'm going to more likely be talking about what I've seen when it comes to a new store that opened up in Houston. So let's start out here. The thing that I found interesting. So I want to start out with the fraudulent support. And the thing that bothers me about how people don't mind the ashiness. Anyway, the thing that I found interesting about how people support is, in theory, it sounds good when they see you in the circumstances where they think you can do better because they particularly don't like someone. But when you actually do better, their whole get down change, their whole everything they do and say is different. And it's hard to really trust how genuine people are in that support at the beginning, number one. But number two, it just everybody comes off like a opportunist. And they use the worst against you when all of a sudden they might disagree with you. And they place assumptions about you when majority of the time it's really not the time for those type of thoughts like that. No one, especially when people are thrusted in circumstances that is unfortunate to what they're dealing with. And but I figured that there are people in there certain groups that's just an easy punching bag, because why not? Everybody, so many people are trying to make money, so much content to be made, so why not? And I think that's part of the problem, where as long as people know they can get paid by putting your name into something or expressing opinions, that's how they know if the analytics, so that's how they know, a lot of movement is going to be going on to what they post and what they say. And I think we all would like to benefit from that. It's just different when it's not coming from a good place. And also people will have to answer to that. When if that person decides to come off their high horse, and what I mean by high horse is just the platform or the circumstances they in, and they have to, people hate the idea of punching down, but let's say they decide to punch down. They having a good day, they say, it. What you gonna say or do about it? Oh, you gonna be a victim all of a sudden. Now I can't believe they said this. I can't believe they responded to me. And I think that's the biggest problem. But I want to start out with something. Over the last couple of years, as we've seen, Shannon Sharpe has been a lightning rod in so many different ways when it comes to what people say to different topics. And even though, he's been in the spotlight for about 30 years, over 30 years now, what the last 5 years for sure has been for this man has hit different levels that it really, in the way we see media now, really hasn't been done. And also what helps is the fact that he's been able to be around people who are very traditional media. And it's crazy because he's old enough to be around the same age as those people also, and maybe a generation under the person that really introduced us to him on a different level, outside of, like, if you've seen him for the NFL, and also when he was on CBS. But when he worked with Skip Bayless, and the way, and it was unfortunate. It seems like a lot more was going on above their heads. Out of the, it's kind of like when people say, "Yo, man, it's out of my pay grade" type thing. And because I will say something that I noticed that, so, with Shannon Sharpe and Sterling Sharpe getting into the, now both in the Hall of Fame, to me, everything feels right with me now with the Hall of Fame. Sterling Sharpe, I grew up a Green Bay Packer fan, also a Steeler fan because your own business. But, watching Sterling Sharpe when you young and, be a dominant football player, he's one of the, like, he might be pound for pound one. He just cold. Like, fan was just a different breed out there. He was unstoppable. And he did that with limited quarterbacking. And then, you have young Brett Favre, right? And so, Skip Bayless recently did a video just showing his love and support for the Sharp brothers. So check this video out. Hopefully y'all can hear it.
Life is strange. Life is great. Congratulations, Sterling Sharpe. You will now live forever in Canton alongside your brother.
So it's interesting because that was actually like really refreshing to see. I know people are not used to seeing someone like Skip Bayless, show emotion like that. Please, I hope that motherfucker played. But basically, Skip Bayless was, just talking about how he's been able to work with both of them, and and got to know Sterling right after he was done with football back in the mid '90s, and been able to create one of the best shows we've ever seen when it comes to their process, the chemistry they had. Like, I understand that Skip and Stephen A. Smith was able to really lean into what debate TV is now. And, Stephen A. Smith has an ability to be so smooth and he can lean into who he is, but at the same time, the personality that he is. But the fact that Skip and Shannon literally from Fox Sports for one show to go up against a whole network. And I'm talking about that Fox Sports didn't have their YouTube page, but Skip and Shannon Undisputed did. All the videos on First Take was posted on the ESPN YouTube. And then as they move, First Take from ESPN2 to the main ESPN station, that's automatic. You're going to see that everywhere you go. It's automatically on the TVs when you go out and about. But if you look at how people responded to everything that was going on Skip and Shannon show, like, you can tell that they had movement unlike no other. And then even after the show ended, they tried to just put another name on that very page so they can maintain the viewers that they had, which didn't work out the way they did. But they had a disagreement, and the business kind of came into play because of what Fox had planned to move on and do other things, right? They used that to their advantage, unfortunately. And you can tell that affected Skip because he wanted at least him and Shannon to finish together, at the both end of both of their contracts. And, it's really unfortunate. But seeing Skip show, like, you could tell he was very emotional. Like, I think many people get fooled that the things that people assume about Skip, he may be a lot of things, but, and I mentioned this before, people showed a lot of support for Shannon Sharpe because Skip Bayless was the person to dislike. But at least I think Skip Bayless is very authentic. He has authenticity and true to who he is. And it's better to handle that. Imagine you, Shannon Sharpe, and you have all these people who show all this love and support and say, we're going to ride with you and everything else. And if you look at what he's been over the last year and a half or so, some of the things have been unfortunate, unlucky circumstances. But the things that people have been saying and how they talk about him, how they use his name in certain situations, that support was fraudulent to me. It's very fraudulent support. Like I wish I can put, a before and after. Like this how people sounded when he was leaving Skip, and this how people sounded when he had success outside of between Club Shay Shay and Nightcap. He overlapped a lot of people. He like in every way possible. He was able. Matter of fact, I can make a point that he was a driving force for the new First Take, because I know people, who grew up around Mad Dog Radio and things like that. But Monday and Tuesdays was the First Take. Like that's what people was watching. Wednesday to Friday, unless they was probably pulling up at HBCU and Cam was pulling up, people really wasn't watching First Take. Like they know that, and it's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But Shannon Sharpe literally was like, anywhere he pulling up, it's like, it's a good ass time. He bringing people with him. He bringing audience with him. Social media is keeping an eye on him. And it does make me uncomfortable because, yeah, when you have certain situations and things come out, you're dealing with a lawsuit. The thing about it is, like, yeah, I understand you do have to move differently when you have money. But my question is this: what the fuck do you expect someone to do right now? You have money. Maybe they should just stand in place. Maybe when a person gets money, don't go anywhere. Don't invite nobody to your house. Don't even have a phone conversation. Don't give no one a hug. Don't even date anyone. Don't even say hi to someone. Matter of fact, if you a man and you see another man, don't even look at him because they're gonna assume something about. Like there's no win. We've accepted that all of a sudden. What, like, it sounds like this was a consensual relationship with some kinks involved, and we are here talking about everything else except how fucked up it was for people to really actually allow Tony Busby, who does not have great credibility. Y'all kind of let that Deshaun Watson situation really fuck you over, but y'all changed y'all whole view when it came to Jay-Z. And now his reputation took a hit because y'all thinking about this young girl he was out here trying to get his meat wet with. So then what's crazy is like, oh, that little white girl, he left. All right, cool. What happened if this was a 19-year-old black girl? So if he was messing with her, like, and let's say he was being a certain way, like, he should be loyal to her because, she won't tell on him or something like that. Is that what y'all trying to say? If it was a black woman, she wouldn't do him like that. It's just, I'm confused right now. I'm confused at what people have been saying. If you believe this person's a fucked up person, it don't matter who the fuck it is. Unless you really think black women just gonna take it and deal with it or something like that. I'm confused right now what the response has been about this shit. But with that being said, I just think there's been a lot of fraudulent activity on the response of how people are. And then Linnell, apparently called him ugly and, just it's different things, and people always question the dude's sexuality. Like, where the fuck? Like, there were people who actually was like, he released the video on Instagram so he can prove he ain't gay. Why the fuck? Who the fuck are y'all? Man, I'm gonna show y'all something right now. Because I was making the point to my homeboys. This is my Instagram. All right. So you go to Instagram, you can go literally if you swipe on accident, you be at live. All right, I'm on live right now. You can see behind me, right? If you know how you be on your phone and you press something, look, 3, 2, 1, and you are live. Like it doesn't do anything, but it just saying you are live. Like it's such an easy process. And y'all thought the motherfucker was like, yes, yes, no, no, I'm live and I'm fucking. That's how stupid y'all sounded. Y'all sounded stupid as fuck. I can't believe people was really sounding like that. All you got to do is do your fucking research to realize like that was some real accidental shit. Like, think about it. If a girl I used to talk to literally accidentally pocket dial me and then it hangs up, oh, you call me? You don't even do that. You're like, damn, why she call me? And then you start thinking that she probably was trying to call because she missed your man, and she probably had to go to the number, go all the way to R and A, and then, or she just put my number in because she remembered by heart, and then she called me. That's how the fuck you sound. That's just stupid. For people who want to be taken seriously as smart, y'all be saying some of the dumbest shit I ever heard in my fucking life. Like, just so yeah. Ultimately, what I view is, even if as Skip and Shannon had a disagreement, Skip would never. I don't think Skip would ever, never, ever say or do some of the things y'all said and done about Shannon publicly. Ever, not even close. And if you ask him what type of person he'd rather deal with someone he kind of have an idea who that person is and how he is, and had a relationship and kind of have friction and solve that, than be out in the world vulnerable around a bunch of motherfuckers who think they support you but using everything against you, especially as you've gotten better at what you've been doing. It makes no fucking sense to me. This shit's stupid. Stupid as hell. Anyway, to the next thing. So I see one of the things I always find interesting about social media and people who talk about, I don't know if it's dating, I don't know if it's community based things, I don't know, but the one of the most interesting things people love talking about is trying to figure out interracial dating, or especially when you see a lot of the intelligent people, people who might have money, might be famous, and when you think that they could be down with the cause, and you see their partner and they're white, right? And people are trying to figure out the strategy to why this could be. And it's usually the most pessimistic point of view. And then it turns into people just assume that you just don't like other groups. And no one ever really thought, it might be proximity and circumstances. And I can say this because what the irony behind it is, if this was the other way around, people got all the reasons why, or try to come with think pieces of what it could be, of why. Let's, for example, I straight up, the responses of how people view a black man being with a black woman is different than how people view a black woman being with a black man. I don't know how the fuck this happened. Like, at least people giving black women the benefit of the doubt every fucking time, even if you completely against the idea of it. Oh, she must have been sick of niggas. That's the first thing she must have just realized these different things. It's inconsistent. You just think a black man weak when you see him with some white meat. Or let me give you another idea. So the best way to kind of describe some of these things when it comes to what people who they're attracted to, who they end up with, look at intellectuals and you look at gay people, people in the LGBTQIA, right? I say this is because, all right, for example, let's say you grew up 70s, 80s. It's hard for you to open up to your family about being gay. You in the church, you're around your family, but you know who you really are. You know what you're attracted to. You know what lifestyle you feel more comfortable, who you feel like you can be yourself. Yourself. And it's hard to figure out where to go. So you end up going out and about to clubs, different places in different communities where you're trying to find more people who, has a similar story, a lifestyle like you. Let's say you black, a young black man. Because I think it's different with black women only because I think the way people talk about women, lesbian couples, than men being gay, even if they have a lot of similarities. So then you take this young 19-year-old black kid and he goes out and about and he's in the neighborhood. So let's say you live in Houston because Montrose is, the spot to be. And you're in a spot, you're around other people who, have the same similarities, you're, the same attraction and things like that. And you meet someone there. And I'm talking about like 40 years ago. So it was really hard to know where to go, especially when you black and you just think that every single black person you're around is homophobic as hell. And so you end up going about, you meet this person, he's white, and they're probably 5, 10, 15 years older than you. They've been through this already. They've been through everything that you're going through right now. They the one to understand you the most. They the one that can relate to you. They the one to give you tips on what to do and everything else. And what ends up happening as you listen to those things and that person understands you to make you feel comfortable. They look a little cute and you become attracted to that person. You might end up dating that person. Like, yeah, in your mind, you probably want to be attracted to, you want to be with somebody that's black just like you, but you're thinking more about, yo, this person fits every other thing that I'm looking for in the person. And that's who you end up dating. That's who you end up being with. That's the person make you feel loved, protected, and cared for. So then you take the same realm of when you talk about intellectuals, people who, they grew up in a certain neighborhood. Let's say for me born in Milwaukee, I lived in Madison. There's not too many black people, but the black people I grew around, we all grew up in the same circumstances, right? So then you go, you smart as hell. You say, hey man, I want to go to an Ivy League school. I'm gonna do it for my neighborhood. I'm gonna do it for my people. I'm gonna be there and do my thing. In your mind, you would love to, maybe you heard about the HBCUs, but you was like, no, man, this program in Ivy League, I really want to do. I want to be among the prestigious. Unless you grew up in a family that was really hell bent on letting you know the important HBCUs, you're just gonna go where the education is at the highest, right? And so you're different programs, you have different interests. There's not a lot of people in the room like you. You still view white people a certain way because how you've been treated because you're in different rooms that other people haven't been in. But you're still around people who have some common interests, certain programs you are in, certain things you are involved in, right? And so what ends up happening is you get to know that person. That person has the same passion, the same likes, the same interests, and you like, man, I'm really this person. I'm really attracted to who this person is. You might have a group of black friends you're around, and y'all basically doing trade secrets, talking about the different things you've been through. But the person you're attracted to the most just happens to not be black, but has every other thing that you love the most about that person, or the things that they relate to you about, and you just happen to end up being with that person. People keep thinking deeper, like you just don't like your own, or something mentally wrong with you, or you weak, or you down in the other, like you don't love your mama. What the fuck is going on? Did anybody ever think about it from that standpoint? That maybe, just maybe, proximity circumstances also is a thing. You ever meet kids in high school who's the black kid who kicked around a bunch of Asian kids because they had common interests? Sometimes he wear a certain shirt, the button-up shirt with the anime character on it. Now it's different for me because I went to high school 20 years ago. Now you can find more. I was at DreamCon. Now you see a lot more black kids who's able to be comfortable to be as nerdy as possible. That wasn't the same thing probably 10 years ago. Man, this ash really be popping up. Anyway, it wasn't the same thing as it was 10 years ago. Why the fuck we having these conversations like, I can't believe, yo, this shit is brand fucking new. Like, I think that when we need to have these conversations, we need to stop being disingenuous about the shit. Really is frustrating because it seems like, dude, y'all don't really give a fuck. You just trying to you're trying to get a point of view off, like you don't think you're gonna have some pushback about it, or at least questions will not be asked. The video, of what the young woman said, and I put in my 2 cents. I was trying to get a, see what other people thought about this point of view. And I know there's usually, when it comes to a lot of these subjects, you have a 15, it's a 15, 10 to 15% on both sides, right? The 10 to 15 on the extreme, the 10 to 15 on the other extreme. And then you have everybody else in the middle. I be thinking about the regular ass people in the middle. That's where your bread and butter should be when it comes to things that you believe in your plight. But because so many people love leaning into everything. It's like people need the point to be strong where they are willing to victimize themselves through the already being the victim of something, where it's like you can actually find people who actually understand you more than you think, who actually has questions, and they might be ignorance out of just curiosity. Find those people. I've seen, literally, I've watched elections be lost because of shit. Case in point, people was worried about the 15-20% that wasn't vote for Kamala, and 80% of black men voted for her. And people were talking like, the way it sounded like that election cycle, you only thought like 5 niggas was gonna vote for her, just because people's based off of like, it's funny because me and my homeboy Edwin, he's always joke about like how it's a black people thing with like, nigga, everybody was there, man. Who was there? Nigga, my mom, my cousin, my nigga, everybody. Just we over exaggerate everything like this is everyone type of thing. Now, when you have a small percentage of people that can affect the macro and maybe the micro, or these are things that are whispers that you want to nip it in the bud or have conversations about to kind of figure out what's going on. I understand that. But when people are kind of putting these things like it's absolute, like this is, this is, it's going to take, it's no different how people be concerned when white people think that they're going to be a minority in America. Fam, even if they did, like in the words of Chris Rock, if they losing, who's winning? That's the crazy part. Like, white people, it don't matter. Fuck it. Y'all not really trying to understand that shit. So that's that. Get your mind right. Say no to drugs. All right. It's never that simple with Ramon. And I'm trying to figure out, I'm trying to be open minded to this thought because I do have more questions than I have judgment. And the reason why I have questions is because this is nothing new of what we see when people have an interest in something. And you wonder, it's like, damn, like, is it because of what it is? Is it because of the stigma around it? Is it because who is doing it? Is it because you see a video of black women, wilding the fuck out for some bundles? Is it that? Because it's, we see people wait in line to go to their favorite artist, their concert, or a video game, or a new restaurant opening up, or a clothing store. I maybe feel like this might be in the realm of Black Friday type of energy, and I think that's why people are kind of like, it makes no sense. But like I've been really wondering because the response to what we've seen about this hair store in Houston has been wow. So yeah, it's never that simple with Ramon. It's more based off of, I just got questions about what the fuck is going on right now. Yo, fam, look, people do line up and go to a lot of things. Matter of fact, they got people who in the middle of Texas that will get up early in the morning and wait for some brisket made by this woman. I almost said old woman just so freely, but she's an older woman who owns a brisket spot open on Saturdays, and people go there and eat the food, right? Because they heard about it. It was on one of those shows on Netflix or Hulu. And when you see, and I really think it's a stigma thing. I think it's the people already view weave and wigs and hair a certain way, right? I don't think this be any different if you see a bunch of white women out here wilding out, or other women who wear hair, weave or wigs and things like that. I don't think their response be any different. Motherfuckers, we still will have questions like, what the fuck is going on? Like over hair? But to see how this played out now, it's funny because people think I'd be hating on Houston. This shit, that shit totally made sense. What that shit was to me, like like but it's a fucking shame to see. It's a damn shame, dog. And I think it's okay to say that. This is not no. I don't know how people will respond to the idea that everything shouldn't be extreme. Like it's embarrassing to the people in the culture. I'll tell you this: if it don't hurt, I know it didn't help. I'll tell you that, because this dude was able to pull up. To me, it's like I've been saying for a long time. I probably would be in a better situation in my life financially if I knew how to sell insecurity. That's marketing genius. If you can sell insecurity to people, it's a lot of money to be made off of that. And this do maybe because this person was famous, maybe this I just think is anybody could have did this. This could have been owned by an Asian family who knew that, hey man, this city really needs a big dumbass hair outlet. You know what I mean? Like this motherfucker need this is hair Costco. No, that shit's hair Costco. Real like real shit. And so that's why like I was wondering, like, damn, yo, okay. But and you know what I was thinking? Imagine, all right, you let's say you know your girl, but she got like her certain things, but it's early in the morning. She's like, "Hey, babe, I'm about to go. Oh yeah, open up this hair store by the week. I'm thinking about getting my hair done. And I'm just gonna pick up a few bundles." You thinking like you ain't thinking anything of it. You heard about it, but you think, "Oh, okay, cool. Well, be safe. Why you going so early?" He was like, "Oh, I'm just trying to go because grand open and they got some deals, so I want to take advantage of it." All right, well, be safe. Love you. Take care. You gonna eat? Are you hungry? So I'm gonna eat, later on. So I don't think it should take long. He's like, all right, cool. So you at the crib, you chilling. And then you look up and you look at the news and you see, people talking about the grand opening store, like, oh shit, there's a lot of people there. Then you go on TikTok and you see what's really going on in that motherfucker. You like, I know this girl ain't go all the way there for all that shit. She wilding out over some fucking bundles, fam. Like you'd be at home confused if that was your girl. That's what make the shit funny as hell. I don't know, dog. So like I said, my question to come down to is like, is it because of who it is? Is it because we see black women doing this shit and we like, because people do feel like black women naturally will get the business no matter what they do, you know? Is it because, people do wait in line and it's because of hair? Is it the stigma of how we view hair and weave and people buying it? And, there are people who've done a full on robbery and run out the store over some bundles, right? Like I have more questions than judgment. But the shit's still crazy. It's damn near fucking ridiculous if you ask me. Like I don't even, and you know what? It's maybe because for me, I don't like lines as it is. I don't like, fam. DreamCon, we waited in line. That's the most patient I had to be in my life. Like I hate lines. There's no, there's. I don't think it's a line worth it to me that I know of. And maybe my life has changed because since I work from home, my weekends is usually busy. During the day where everybody at work, guess where I get to go? Wherever I need to get to. So let me make sure. Let me see if I can share this screen. Because they was out here making fam look like he was the king in his. You see this, dog? That shit's crazy, yo. I don't know. Anyway, and that's not even showing like probably half of the shit that was really going down. So, anyway. Well, my name is Ramon Delon Jone Dixon. This is the Ramon Dixon Experience. Thank you for pulling up, hanging out with your boy. If you have any questions or concerns, let me know. I'm working on something. I'm actually starting to figure out how to use this shit a lot more, right? Have a little time. I really got to get past some shit mentally to not like, I look up and like, damn, I got to do this and got to do that. I've been trying to be better at that, even though that shit's a process. But y'all take care, be safe, wear a condom, say no to drugs, get money.